Virgos, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for April 4th through the 10th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Virgo, this week we've got a new moon in your 7th house of relationships on Thursday. So this is a time of new beginnings here for your one-to-one connections. Now, this is an area you're probably already focused on because you've had the Sun here, you've had Venus here, and up until this week, Mercury. But Mercury is going to be shifting into your 8th house. And of course, because this is your ruler, there's a strong emphasis of both houses this week. So in terms of this shift, I think with your ruler in the 8th, you're entering into a very good time for you to connect to the deeper side of life, right? To have intimacy with yourself, openness with yourself, vulnerability. And that will naturally mirror in your relationships externally, maybe even healthy codependency and sharing and all of that. So I think your mind will naturally be on these deeper things. And I think that's a good way of working with this week. Mercury is going to go retrograde here later in the month. All right, so through this stuff, you're understanding about what really matters in life. Then it's going to go through this reflection, but you'll be prepped for that. You'll have already a lot of this insight. So good to cultivate and continue to think about and work with what really matters, what is really true, what is real, what is meaningful to you, and again, how to open up with self primarily, which then again reflects in your relationships. Now, in terms of this new moon in your 7th house, this is now new beginnings. It'll be subtle. In fact, it's always good around the new moon time to kind of go within, to reflect, especially leading up to it, because we'll be in that balsamic phase, the ending of the last lunar cycle. All right, so seeing where you want to set new intentions with relationships for the next 6 months, 12 months of your life. All right, and just sitting with it, because for you, with Pisces being the sign associated with your 7th house, this is all about having this serendipity about it, acceptance about it, and that's always the theme in your life, you know. And in relationships, that sensitivity, that acceptance within the relationship, and a lot of this you can be enjoying right now with Venus. You can really be enjoying those one-to-one connections. There's some healing taking place. There's some old energy being released, but that's mostly from the past few weeks. This week is about new beginnings. Now, the new moon is going to be forming a few aspects, and it is these aspects that are going exact this week. The Sun will be trining up to Saturn here on Tuesday, squaring up to Pluto here on Wednesday. Then the new moon is on Thursday. And then over the weekend, we have the Sun conjoining up to Uranus. Okay, so those are the three aspects of the new moon. Trining Saturn, squaring Pluto, conjoining Uranus. So in terms of, first of all, this trine up to Saturn, which we'll feel especially on Tuesday, leading towards the new moon, is this discipline with your mind. You've had Saturn in your 3rd house really helping you structure the way you see things. This has been ongoing for about the past year, off and on. Taking that patient approach to thinking, to how you think, to communicating, to correspondence, anything in your immediate environment, short distance travel, taking the patient and responsible approach to these matters. Now, right now, you could be quite motivated, in fact, to maybe speak your mind or write things down or learn or read, write, share, communicate. And this is all very supportive to these new beginnings. So it's an excellent time to communicate. And now what you're reflecting on, this patient, mature sort of way with Saturn in that 3rd. Now, in terms of the square from Pluto, this will be strongest on Wednesday. There's intensity about this new moon. There's a lot of deep change happening with this new moon. And for you, it's specifically around the changes that have been happening over many years with your home life, your family life, or maybe even with your health. And this has been so, particularly so you can have non-attachment with these things in your life. And that's what happens. That's where Pluto is. It's showing us where we might be holding on a bit too tight, where the ego might be holding on too tight, where we might be, because of fear, we're holding on too tight in this area. So this is the emotional part of the chart. This is the personal life. And so the more detached as best as you can and open to change that you are with the emotional body, with your personal life, home, family, and health, and you have that space, you have that separation, and immense power arises from this. And this isn't the power of the ego, of course. It's the power of God. All right? It's the power of the universe at work when everything is stripped away and the only thing that's left is the pure essence, right? And it works through us. So being open to seeing where you can release attachments to these foundational areas of your life will then help you constructively work with what is shaping up deeply and intensely with your relationships. Now, this can be good intensity. In fact, that's always what happens with anything in astrology, and it is always for the good. But it's just a matter of whether we're in alignment with it or if we're seeing it or not. So here, open to also non-attachment with relationships, open to change in relationships, to allowing the ego to take the back seat, etc., will help this energy work constructively this new moon, and specifically around Wednesday. Now on the new moon, and then of course over the weekend, once the sun goes over Uranus, this Uranus energy of the 7th house is really being actualized. This has been Uranus in your 7th house for about the past 6 or 7 years, about having freedom in relationships, being your true self, individuality, allowing the other person in whatever that partnership is. And this is all relationships, by the way, but allowing them to be themselves too, and connecting to people who are different and unorthodox, and you accessing your unique, different, and unorthodox self, which I think a lot of this you sort of came to a new understanding of last week when your ruler went over that Uranus. But now this new moon is about where you can have this freedom of being your true self, freedom in relationships, individuality, where two individuals come together as individuals in a relationship, right? And where you can maybe have some excitement, some new things, mix things up. So that's going to be the new moon in a nutshell. And there's a lot of support, like I said, from Saturn, the communication side of it, the disciplined, patient, mental side of it, good openness to change within your emotional body, with your personal life. If you're open to that, then that can be very constructive with it. And then again, accessing this new sense of relationships, this freshness about it, and this freedom about it in many ways with Uranus. All right, Virgo, so have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.